Clementine, by the way.
I'm Joel.
Hi, Joel. No jokes about my name. You like?
You look like a tangerine.
I want to be a great, big, huge elephant.
You're trying to figure out, did I have sex with someone tonight?
Isn't that how you get people to like you?
Welcome to CloseUp, rewatching film classics. My name is Bruce Isaacs. I'm an academic in film studies at the University of Sydney, and once a month I'm going to look at a single film sequence that in my opinion makes that film a classic. Just why do some movies stand out as classics or as masterpieces?
My head already hurting.
That baby's history.
It's all being wiped away.
They're erasing you, Clem. You'll be gone by morning.
In today's installment of CloseUp, we're looking at the concept of love and desire in Charlie Kaufman's scripted Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. This is a film that seems to be on the favourites list of almost everyone I know, and that possibly includes me as well. When I teach this film, invariably students tell me this is a film that defines a certain time for them and also defines the way that they think of love and desire as represented in the cinema. So that's our overarching theme. How do movies encompass this idea of desire? And my argument is that a film like Eternal Sunshine enables us to think through precisely what desire is. I actually remember seeing this movie, Dandy Newtown, and I was walking out past that cafe and I was so overwhelmed by the experience. I actually remember it was raining. When you come out of a movie like this, it should always be raining. And I remember thinking that it was just one of the most profound experiences I'd had because I'd followed Kaufman's career through Being John Malkovich, Adaptation, two films I love. But for me, they were cynical films. They were movies that, in some sense, were pessimistic about modern life and modern love. And then suddenly he brings out Eternal Sunshine, and I couldn't help feeling that Eternal Sunshine was a total rejection of that. Eternal Sunshine seemed idealistic. It seemed passionate. It seemed to say to me that, yes, in our modern or postmodern, sophisticated, chic society, that true love is still possible and that you can put your faith in it. As always, I'm going to show you a brief clip, about 2 minutes. This is the ending of Eternal Sunshine. It's complex, it's challenging, it's beautiful. There are two moments that I'm especially interested in. So I want you to watch it as carefully as you can, watch it twice if you can, and then I'm going to come back and I want to look in a more sort of microscopic, exacting way at two really lovely gestures, what I'll call cinematic gestures, and then I'll speak to those. So let's take a look at the clip.
Bye. It was nice meeting you and all.
Who wants to spend that much time with someone only to find out that she's a stranger? Wait.
What?
I don't know.
What
Just
do
wait.
you want, Joel?
Just wait. I don't know. I want you to wait for just a while.
Okay.
Really?
I'm not a concept, Joel. I'm just a fucked up girl who's looking for my own peace of mind. I'm not perfect.
I can't see anything that I don't like about you.
But you
Right
will.
now I can't.
But you will. You will think of things. And I'll get bored with you and feel trapped because that's what happens with me.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Change your heart. Look around you. Change your heart, and we'll astound you. And I need your loving.
A deceptive sequence, a beautiful sequence. I think it has one of Jim Carrey's finest moments on film, and he has many fine moments. So there I was leaving Dendy Cinemas, and what I had running through my head was that moment, I guess a gesture, something that was kind of completely casual but also so powerful in the film, when Clementine, played by Kate Winslet, says, "We will find things that we don't like about each other. This will not work." And Jim Carrey sort of shrugs, and it's a note of resignation, but also of a sense of desiring to go forward. And he simply says, "Okay." And so this is what I had running around in my head, that Kaufman had affirmed the possibility of almost an impossible true love. I can't go into the plot of this film. For those of you who have seen it, you know that I can't encompass the plot because it's so labyrinthine and so wonderfully rich and complex. But what I will say is, we know as viewers, this relationship will not work. If you've not seen the film, I encourage you to see it. But I'm not speculating. I know the relationship will not work between these two. More provocatively, they know it won't work. So when Jim Carrey says, "Okay, let's still give it a go," that seems to me a trope that we see in a lot of romantic cinema, especially in Hollywood, which is, look, we don't care. We still have faith in love. We can make this work. We know it won't, but the allure of love is so powerful that nonetheless we'll give it a go. So how do you put this with the fact that Kaufman had just done Being John Malkovich, an adaptation, and as I described it earlier, these were cynical vehicles. These were movies about a sort of cynical postmodern world. Now he gives us this replete tale of faith in love, the commitment to a relationship and desire that's actually requited. It can work, you just have to have faith in it. I want to take you back to have a look at two aspects of the sequence. So this is what we always do. I chose the sequence, obviously, because there's something a little bit deceptive. When I came to do research on the film many years later, I noticed the deception. So, two things I want you to have a look at. Look at the idealism of the gesture of Jim Carrey.
I can't see anything that I don't like about you.
But you
Right
will.
now, I can't.
But you will. You know, you will think of things, and I'll get bored with you and feel trapped, because that's what happens with me.
Okay.
Okay.
This is just such an astonishing moment. The okay is a summation of everything that I would argue a certain notion of the romantic gives to us. It'll be fine. We are romantics at heart. If you've seen the ending to Casablanca, look, I'm not going to say that Kaufman's riffing on that ending, but they seem to have, there's a lovely symmetry there, right? Classical Hollywood to contemporary American independent cinema. But Kaufman is an extremely clever writer. He's a clever screenwriter. So let's hop ahead to the closing of the film. And now I want you to watch it again, but I want you to take note of the sort of the impressionistic landscape of the beach at Montauk. And I want you to watch the sequence very closely for what is going to happen.
Okay.
Change your heart.
You can hear Beck over the soundtrack. The refrain is, "Everybody's got to learn sometime." So something magical is happening right here.
Change your heart. It will astound you.
Did you see the series of jump cuts? Strange, aberrant, unusual cuts in which the lovers seem to retreat into a kind of misty shroud of sort of ineffability, we get a cut and they come back and they move forward, and we cut and they come back and they move forward. I think it's 4 times. I suggested that on my first viewing of this film, I found it so deeply romantic that it was quite overwhelming. I only discovered these cuts, I have to say, when I was researching a book I published in 2013 when I did close work on Eternal Sunshine. I had literally never seen these jump cuts in my first couple of viewings at the cinema. And when I show this to students, I tend to find in lectures that maybe, if you're lucky, on a good day, 20% of people even notice that anything's happened. It just seems to be a move to credits. As Beck sings, everybody's got to learn sometime. But it's Kaufman, so what's happening here? The cuts now obviously become very significant. What they're suggesting is that these lovers have in fact known each other before. They're reenacting the same movement over and over. What this image suggests is that they are in a cycle of returning, living through the same relationship over and over. And that Clementine and Joel, when they're standing in that passageway, they are correct. They will always fall out of love with each other. And then they'll fall in love and out of love and in love and out of love. And they will constantly be moving in this cycle. So Kaufman's, what I thought was this unfettered romanticism, is unfortunately cut through by a very sophisticated postmodern take on love. Yes, they love each other. Yes, they'll give anything for each other. Yes, they have an undying faith in love, but they have no idea that they are in a cycle of what Nietzsche called eternal return. They will constantly be reenacting the same process over and over and over. I hope that illustrates something about the complexity of the vision of a film like Eternal Sunshine, which on the one hand is romantic. I never want to downplay that. There's something so beautiful in the romance. And yet, in another sense, there's an acknowledgement that romance is fraught with ending, right? With being unrequited, with being circular, constantly in a process of eternal return. And that is a very dark thing to consider. And it makes Eternal Sunshine one of the darkest films of Kaufman's body of work. Thanks very much for joining in.